Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, friends, Romans, countrymen, and I think I've used this joke before. We're back once again with Renegade Master, your Dreadlock caster, RedRipz, right here for another game of StarCraft II Heart of the Swarm. Now this one's on Heart of the Swarm. Heart of the Swarm. Yeah, so this is a 4v4 game on, I think it's Writhing Carcass or something this map's called, Writhing something. Basically it's a huge 4v4 game that got submitted to r/castit on Reddit, and that's where I usually get most of my replays from. So for a laugh I figured I'd try and cast this 4v4 since I've never bothered casting a game this big before. So I'm going to try and rattle through the names as quickly as I can, and then hopefully we'll see some huge, ridiculous action out of these players. Now, initially, this is about Gold League sort of level, by the way, I just want to point out. So basically we've got the top half of the map is one team, the bottom half of the map is the other team. Initially though, in the top right near side corner at somewhere about 1:30 in the afternoon on a clock face, we have the red Protoss player VnPoSeIDoN. So that's Poseidon, we're going to call you. That's the initial brother from another mother, one of the other brothers. Further up in the top right hand corner of the map here we have the light blue Terran player, thedark. Yeah, sneaky, sneaky. And then on the left-hand side, the third brother from their collective mothers, we have Bolt, purple Zerg player, his natural habitat right there. And then up in the top left, we have Imperial, the blue Terran player, looking just as sexy as his teammates. There he is. Multi-angle. Yeah! So down at the bottom end of the map, we have the other team. Today's sisters from other misters. The orange Terran player here, LOneMagikarp. Yeah, he's going to appear by surprise. Further down the bottom left, we have Invencible, the green Zerg player. On the far right, we have Meristematic, pink Protoss alliteration. Yeah! And then in the far bottom right hand corner, woohoo! Final player in this 4v4 is the yellow Terran player here, XDecimayte. Yeah, cool. So straight away I'm gonna knock the production tab up just briefly because there's such a wealth of information there. It's actually impossible to really get anything too useful out of it. What we've got is we've just have a quick glance around the players. We've got the Terran player up here. He's going for an early gas. He's getting down a thing there. So I think we're going to see a triple proxy racks out of him. Bang in the middle of the map. Beautiful straight away. Our Zerg player Bolt here has gone for what looks like a hatch first, followed by a quick spawning pool. So he's playing macro. Then we've got another sort of averagey kind of Protossy businessy here. He's getting a single assimilator. He's got the gateway down and Cybernex course. I think we're going to see a 4-gate type build out of this guy. The top far right, we've got 2 racks down at the front there. So we're seeing a sort of relatively early racks coming out of both our Terran players here. All very nice. Meanwhile, at the bottom end of the map, we have a Terran here who is expanding. He's also getting a barracks down there as well, if you look. And now further back, we have this green Zerg player who's terrified of being cheesed. He's got his spawning pool down. He's getting 2 extractors for whatever the hell reason. He's got down a spine crawler as well. Basically, he wants to be able to defend himself as early as possible. So he's really starting to pile on the the defense as opposed to the economy there. And then obviously we've got this Protoss player here, Meristematic, who's just basically economizing, getting down the Stargate as soon as he possibly can. I think we're going to see Void Rays out of this player, let's be honest. And then down the bottom right, our Terran player here is going for a factory. So that looks like a 1-1-1 build. We've got a command center just after the factory started building. So he's going there, barracks, factory, and then command center for the expansion. So it looks like we're going to be seeing some movement in the middle of the map here now, as all the players at the top end of the map decide to gather their forces right here in the middle. We've got Bolt, the Dark, and Imperial here. There's a little bit of teamwork going on there. Meanwhile, if we just have a little look, we've got VnPoSeIDoN doing his thing here, getting down again what looks like a 4-gate, slightly late second gateway. If that's oh no, he's going straight to Twilight Council. Okay, I haven't got a clue what this guy's doing. Are you getting early DTs? Do we think? Would be an option, I guess. He's getting second walk it out. We've got a little bit of overlords dying up here at the top left of the map out of Imperial, and now just generally people gathering in the centre of the map. I'm going to turn off this because it's an absolute nightmare to see anything at all. Now, our Zerg player down the bottom left who's decided to move out of his base now. He's had enough of building defences, gone for the economy, getting expansion down. Our LOneMagikarp here is no longer quite so lonely. He's going to be joined by this huge force in the middle any minute now. I'm just going to zoom out a bit so we can maybe see this a little bit better. And obviously he's got a bunker down here in the middle, and meanwhile his Protoss friend here is going to be churning something out of this Stargate before too long. So we're seeing the pressure here now as the Marines move down out of all 3 of our top players, plus a single Zealot there. I think there was 2. One of them tanks some of the damage at the front. We're going to see a 2-way engagement here. I think we're going to see the Zerglings come in here from Invencible, and also Meristematic is going to be doing his thing. We're getting a huge surround on these. Oh no, that's not surround because they're on the same team. Excellent, excellent. I think what I might do is I might just turn on team colours just so we can actually see what the hell's going on. So we've got the blue team at the bottom, the red team at the top, and with plenty of red Marines coming down now, it looks like these players are going to be doing their thing there. And meanwhile, Invencible is being struck nastily in the second base that he hasn't actually managed to build any defences for. So it looks like this base is basically going to fall here. There's not much that Invencible can really hope to do. Meanwhile, our Terran player, the Dark, is going to be putting a whole bunch of pressure on LOneMagikarp, trying to keep him company, but unfortunately well, he's not the sort of company that LOneMagikarp really wants now, as he's basically losing all his second base there pretty much. I don't think we're going to see a repair out of that. Meanwhile, we've got Decimates, Marines wandering around here on the outside, having a little wander about. I think we've seen that hatchery fall there as well now. And generally, the red team has made a big chunk out the middle of the map. Now, we've got some pressure here from some Oracles out of Meristematic. That's where he's decided to go with the Stargate there, it seems, and he's going to continue churning out Phoenixes behind that. So he's just getting the 1 Oracle, do some damage there to our obviously the other Protoss player there. He's lost a lot of probes there now. Meanwhile, we've seen this expansion recalled back for Decimate. He's decided that the high ground's the safest place to be away from this sort of force, and I'll be honest, that's fairly reasonable, really. It's interesting that this team's all on they're on the same clans. They obviously know each other and most likely on TeamSpeak, and they've actually had quite a lot of difficulty dealing with these forces here from the red side up the top. We've got all these Marines of Imperial here and all these Lings of Bolt just wandering around between the 2 main bases of Decimate and Meristematic, and looks like we can see a little bit more there out of the mothership core and things. We've got the first couple of DTs of Poseidon coming in now. They're going to walk straight past this huge siege line that LOneMagikarp's got, and thankfully, because the supply depots at the front are open, he's just going to charge on in. We're going to start taking out tanks, 2 hitting those guys. Now, basically, if you can just get rid of these things, this is going to be beautiful. Now, we'll try and target that. We'll get one over there, get one over there. Yes, sir. Nice micro, mate. Nice one. You got in there just in time, and I think we should be seeing this other tank fall now because basically LOneMagikarp spent way too much time microing that around. And meanwhile, we're going to see Meristematic. Is it Meristematic? Yeah, Meristematic moving out of his main base and allowing a huge Ling run by to just walk on in there. That's quite nice of him to allow that to happen. That's pretty good, really, because Bolt's going to enjoy eating up as many of these drones probes as he can. Meanwhile, at the top of the map, it doesn't look like we're actually seeing anything too much in the way of pressure or anything out of that. If we just have a little look here, we've got Imperial coming in at the front here to do more damage on this Protoss player. And to be honest, Meristematic's not having the best game here. I mean, he did a lot of damage to his opposing Protoss player, but with all his many troops in his base, not going to be much fun, is there? I mean, I think the Lings have been ran around to death, just running round and round the inside of this base. But with obviously the Marines at the front, completely able to take out that front of house tech there. That was all very nice. And now with the siege tanks down the front, looks like this pressure might finally be coming to an end out of these here. We're going to see these barracks being pulled back out of Imperial here. Meanwhile, obviously, Poseidon's continually sending in these DTs 1 at a time. That's got to be an absolute pain in the arse there for Magikarp to deal with, because basically he's got to scan all the damn time. And meanwhile, this other DT is going to be heading straight up into his main now that he's used his scan. And we're going to see a whole bunch of these guys fall. So with the double armory behind that, I think we're going to see a general meching Terran here out of LOneMagikarp. So we've got three of the factories down, all with tech labs, so he's going to be just generally churning out tanks by the look of it, and that's all very nice. So with that, we're going to Magikarp's going to be taking a second base. The muters, by the way, are out for Bolt meanwhile, so he's going to be going at the main base here, Invincible, although there is a Spore Crawler down already, so there's not too much he's going to be able to do there. That's that pressure essentially over. Meanwhile, we're going to see some, I think we're seeing some more death out of the DTs there. Yeah, he's just hidden behind the factory. It looks like this factory is going to be taking a good chunk of damage from this DT. Not the ideal sort of situation, but with the 2 tanks turning up as well, I think, can tanks take out DTs fast enough? Let's have a look. Yes, they can. So that's going to happen there. Now, meanwhile, we've got the Mutalists coming at the meching Terran's base, which, as any meching Terran will tell you, is absolutely shit to deal with. However, it does seem to have actually managed to get Decimate's got some battle cruisers out here as well. So Decimate in the bottom right hand corner, just rushing straight to the battle cruiser tech. I do quite enjoy that, seeing the battle cruisers out so early. I love these games. You see, it's such a vast array of builds and stuff. And I've just realised I've forgotten to open my beer. So with that in mind, I'm just going to do that now. If I'm just going to have a quick glance around the map, make sure there's nothing too crazy going on. I can't see any blue units out of place in any of these bases or anything. So it does look like we'll be taking a brief respite from the cracker today. And I'm on Budweiser again, basically. I'm going to be sure I don't spill it today because, well, after yesterday's disaster piece, I don't really want beer everywhere. I can already see that fizzing up, honestly. I don't know if it's the shape of these bottles or something. It only seems to happen to me with Budweiser as well. Like, what's that about? But all good. Yeah, brand endorsement. All that good stuff. Not the nicest beer, but it's piss easy to drink. So who cares? Now we're getting a gold expansion out of Bolt here. This is going to be great for his economy as he's struggling a little bit in respect of that. He's actually taken 2 gold bases now as his long-term decision there out of Bolt. He's basically decided to get all the minerals in the world. And I imagine he's going to be building 10,000 billion lings with them, since at this sort of level that seems to be the usual banter. Who needs any other type of troops when you just build more lings? Although actually with the Mutalisks coming out there, I'm probably being a little unfair on the guy, as he does now have quite a sizable chunk of Mutalisks out there. And what looks like, is that 23? Corruptors? No, he must just have a lot of stuff on that hotkey. Maybe it's his air forces or something. He's got some really interesting hotkeys, this player, actually. There's hatcheries up on 8. It's a bit strange, but he's like, got 3 gold bases now. Bloody hell, Bolt. You're loving these gold bases. So with both players taking advantage of this, we've got Meristematic pointing out that our red... the Terran players can actually use each other's reactors and things. So basically what you do is you can use the opposing team's add-ons, which looks like actually Decimayte's discovering here as well. Basically you just land your own factories next to them, or whatever you want, and you take control of them. It's actually really funny. And it's something that I'd quite like to see. I'm sure I've seen a game where someone did that. Like someone lifted up a barracks to float it somewhere. To move a factory in its place, and the opponent dropped his building in there instead and just took the building, which was cheeky as hell. But yeah, I do quite like that sort of like innovative type of strategies. It's always nice to see. Meanwhile, we've got Poseidon doing his thing here. He's looking very nice. He's not going to put particularly interesting tech. Let's have a look. Let's see what the players are up to. So we've got Thors coming out. Thor's battle cruisers and general upgrades coming out of our blue team. Meanwhile, the red team seems to be going for same sort of thing. We've got tanks coming down. We're getting concussive shell upgrades. I think we're going to see sort of general ground army stuff out of this red Terran here. Meanwhile, our Protoss player here who's going for the multiple gateways is Poseidon up at the top of the map there. And our other Zerg player is just generally macroing up like an absolute boss, because Bolt really does seem to actually know what he might be doing here, since he's actually gone and just taken all these bases straight away. And if we just have a look at him, he's got one of them fully macroed up already, but I think we'll be seeing some more macroed up. And meanwhile, Imperial's actually doing his work to defend some of these Zerg bases, which is really nice of him, because let's be honest, in team games you don't always see that much teamwork. MOBA games, I guess, being the prime example of that. As a seasoned MOBA player, I say a seasoned MOBA player, I'm shit at MOBA games, can I just say. But as a seasoned MOBA player, because I've played a shit ton of them, yeah, teamwork's not always there, the thing that happens. Same with Counter-Strike, actually. I used to find that, but I mean, public servers, isn't it? What do you get, you know? Unless you're playing with an actual team, you can't really expect too much teamwork. So we've got 9 battle cruisers out now for Decimate, and I think he's probably still producing more. We're seeing a little drop here, though, out of the Dark on the far side of the map. He's putting in some tanks. He's got a lot of Marines in here, and basically Magikarp's having an absolutely shitty time. I think Meristematic's going to lose that Oracle, just as a warning. I don't think one Oracle's really designed to take on quite this number of Marines, but with all the banelings and lings flooding in, it does look like this will either be cleared up or lifted out pretty quickly. Although actually they're getting stuck behind these Hellions here, which is pretty funny, which actually allowed the army of the Dark to be picked up and taken away before too much further damage was done to what was left of his troops. So that's quite good. Meanwhile, Meristematic, I can't say this guy's name. Meristematic, meanwhile, is taking that gold base there. He's got a second gold base down at the bottom there, and well, the other players are just generally sort of moving up to the 3 base sort of strategies now, all very good. We're seeing the creep connections gradually come together here now as Invencible moves up the side of the map. He's got a gold base down as well. God, there's so many gold bases on this map. 1, 2, 3, I think that's it. I think they're all down the side. Oh, sorry, 3, 4. So we've got like 4, 5, we've got 8 gold bases. Fucking hell, we've got 8 gold bases on this map. I love it. And we can actually, that's telling, because basically the Bolt now has all the minerals in the world. We're seeing another drop here out of the Dark. He's going into Meristematic space this time. We're going to see a single battlecruiser come over to try and clear this up. That's not going to work, because basically the battlecruisers need to be doing things. Where the hell are all those battlecruisers, actually? I'm not sure what he's done with them. Oh, here comes the fleet. The fleet is arriving, and with that in mind, we're going to see with the high ground vision on, Magikarp's going to be able to get some tank lines in there. And actually, I think this is going to be the last of the drop now, as with these 12 battlecruisers down, the army there of the Dark is going to get cleared up. I don't think... he managed to save 2 medivacs. That was okay. Although with that amount of damage, it's pretty difficult really to judge the crack there. So we just have a look at the oh, not active forces, excuse me. I want units. Here we go. So let's see who's got the biggest army then. So we've got General Archon Stalker composition with sentries out the top there, with zealots and things. The usual banter out of this player. He's just building that army. This is Poseidon at the top. We've got Imperial building Thors and tanks with a bunch of Marines. They're all going to be camping over here on the far left. And we've got some further siege tanks out of the dark. He's sitting on the right-hand side. That's the player that's been doing the drops. And meanwhile, Bolt's up to 95 drones, and I can only imagine he's probably going to have to start siphoning resources off to his other players soon with quite that many drones out. But with 22 muters and 21 corruptors out, he's looking pretty safe for the old air army now. I think we're going to see with the Great Aspire there as well. It looks like we're going to see Broodlords out of this player, so that'd be really nice to see. He's also going for the air upgrades, all very good. Meanwhile, of course, we're getting a bit of a push here out of Meristematic on the far side. He's going to try and take out this gold base of Poseidon. This is all very good. A lot of the time in these big games, you can't really finish the other team off so much as just starve them out. You have to kind of just keep playing, stay with the game, lose your bases as slow as possible, and just try and just stay in the game, basically, is the way to do it. And you kind of... There are going to be times when you get base raced out of the game, and it is pretty nasty. I'm just going to zoom out here. So I'm trying to take in the scale of all this conflict that's going on here. Oh my god. It does look like most of that blue force was cleared up there, but with all these battle cruisers in behind, I'm going to be interested to see what happens here in a sort of corruptor versus battle cruiser type thing. I mean, we've got quite a lot of mutalisks there, but most of them have died now, and with the battle cruisers not really falling as fast as they perhaps could be, it's looking pretty bad for this air army of bolts, actually. But with all the stalkers underneath as well, it does generally look like the Decimate's going to be losing all his battle cruisers here, and in fact, yeah, that's going to be the end of that army. Despite the 4 Thors underneath in support, it's not quite been possible. Yeah, I'm not sure if it would have been better to switch to high impact or not. Generally, that's against single units rather than multiple. We've got some Colossus harass here on the extra gold base there of Imperial. Meristematic just making sure he's not getting too deep there. We've got quite a lot of tanks here on the low ground, but with so much, with muters out and more muters coming, there's not really much they're going to be able to do. All those tanks of LOneMagikarp are going to die, and there's really very little he can do about it, even if Meristematic's trying to move up his forces. I wouldn't take that Colossus anywhere near that. Meanwhile, on the far right-hand side of the map, we've got LOneMagikarp moving up his Thors, having a little wander about, not doing too much. And we're going to see a huge engagement down the bottom here as well. All these mutalisks coming out of Invencible now, and he is actually looking pretty invincible here now. He's going to get a huge surround on that sort of front part of the army there. The Baneling's making huge connections, but most of the Marines actually getting away as the Thors managed to tank most of the damage. But with the remaining Ultralists, this should be cleared up pretty easily now, as there's no way that this amount of units can do that much damage to the Ultralisk there, and it looks like the Ultralisk are just going to chase around the Queen, pummel her to death, and then Bolt is going to lose this expansion here. And even though he's bringing over his Mutalisks, that's not really going to be able to stop them taking out this base. And I'm not sure. I mean, it depends. I suppose you could target them down, but really want to make sure you take out the base and then run away. Really would have been nicer there, to be honest. Especially when Invencible sat on. Well, he's only got 600 odd resources. He's not that bad compared to say Bolt, who's on 1 billion here at the top of the map. Meanwhile, we're seeing some Ling run bys coming out of Invencible now. He's decided that after the Ultra harass did its job, killed off a lot of drones, he's going to move in on the main base here of Poseidon. There's not that much here, it's been decimated a few times already, but if you could maybe take out some tech and stop this base doing too much more, that'd be quite nice. However, with the Mutalisks of Bolt coming over, don't think this harass is going to survive very long. I don't even think we're going to see this anything too much fall here, as Mutalisks are especially good at taking out Zerglings with that the bounce harassment thing on their attack. Yeah, that should be the end of that there now. On the far side of the map, we're seeing some Hellion pressure over in Bolt's base again, so this is a bit further up. We're seeing further pressure here out of all the blue team as well, pushing up the left-hand side of the map now. And I like this. They're actually really sticking together in this respect. But in fact, both teams are, to be honest, because we've got the Thors and the Ultras here working together on the left-hand side, which had to break through a dual Zerg and Marine army. So I'm a big fan of that sort of play. I like teams working together as opposed to just fighting their own battles all the time. We're seeing another force gather up on the right here now. We've got a couple of battle cruisers out again, mostly going for the Vikings though instead, because of the sheer number of Mutalisks we're seeing out of this Bolt player. And then obviously with the Ultralisk wandering around down here, I think we're going to be seeing most of this cleared up as well. The huge amount of AoE damage just goes straight through all those drones. And I think, that's going to be the end of the Ultralisk though, as the Broodlords have finally popped here for Bolt. And it does look like we're really entering the end game stages now, as the Thors are going to be falling en masse to all these Muta, Ling, Broodlord, Marine Marauder composition that we've got going on here, with their Corruptors on top as well. Although with actually the sheer number of resources that all these players seem to have, they're really trying to get the stuff together. So we've only got 3 Thors against this air army actually. So I would quite like to see a little bit of anti-air out of Invincible maybe, because he's having a little bit of difficulty against these Mutalisks all the time. And with this number in the air, really we're going to need a lot more than 2 Thors to take that out. And there's just not really that much here. Although actually with the Vikings turning now as well, we might be able to see some turnaround on this pressure. And if we can keep the AoE of the Broodlords doing their thing, that'll be really, really good. I'm just going to zoom out slightly now to see if we can take in the scale of this once again. I love these epic battles we get in these games, and a little bit of posing around there, nothing too much going on. Meanwhile, on the far right-hand side of the map, Meristematic tried to make another push in and has failed. He's going to get pushed out again. I think he did some... no, he's not going to take that out quite in time. We're going to see the Marines push down and deal with that too quickly. Further on the far left-hand side of the map, we're seeing a lot of stuff die again. This base is going up in the background, and we're seeing a massive amount of Yamato cannons coming down, but with this many Broodlords, it's really that difficult to have a ground army at all. So to be honest, what we need to do is we need to pull the Broodlords back a bit here, make sure they're not getting targeted down by any of these units at the front, and just make sure anything that can shoot at air is there dealing with the air units, as opposed to just letting these air units that can only shoot at ground do just that. So it's kind of a little bit of an issue. They probably didn't lose quite so many Broodlords as he did, but it's done now. Not too much of a problem. And with the remaining Broodlords there trying to clear up these Thors, it shouldn't be too much more bother now, as long as we can keep the Mutalisks churning out. I mean, he's starting to run out of gas a little bit now. He really does need this extra base to take full advantage of that. But with the developments we're seeing here, it's really not too bad there. We just need to make sure we keep these extra gases open for Bolt there now. So if you look at the top here, Imperial's still doing his general sort of marine tanky type stuff, but obviously he's getting out some Vikings and stuff in behind that as well. We're seeing little mini engagements now. There's a lot of little skirmishes here. A lot of the big forces have died, so we're sort of seeing just little miniature amounts of troops just doing their thing. But with this many Mutalisks out, it's really difficult to see what Invincible might actually do over here now. And indeed on the far side, with this army of the Dark pushing down as well, it's starting to look pretty bad for the blue players now, as the blue players are really starting to lose their bases here. Invincible as well, going to lose this extra gold base here. Although he's actually pretty much mined the crap out of it. I mean, if we just select one of his units, he's got 2,000 minerals saved up, so basically at this point it's a gas game really. With that many gold bases down, it's gas that all the players are going to be struggling for. Yeah, really everyone needs to try and stay on top of that if they can. It's difficult though, because you've got to make sure you hold the bases, and if you don't hold the bases you lose the gas, and then it just takes even longer to get the gas income up again. And with these Broodlords doing this much damage to the Thors, there's not really much that the blue team can do now. They're starting to get a little bit starved out, as everyone's sort of beginning to spend up their money. We're seeing a lot of mined out bases now. There's nothing left in there's a little bit left in the second base here. We've actually got quite a well populated second base here out of LOneMagikarp. Sorry, third base here out of LOneMagikarp. I'd quite like to see these troops move over. He's got 3,000 gas to spend, but only 800 minerals, because he's not actually mining at the moment. Meanwhile, he's doing a little bit of pressure up the top on Poseidon, but with the high ground tanks of the Dark there, they're going to be taken out quite easily. There's a drop coming in on the far left-hand side, well spotted by Invincible. Imperial's going to have to withdraw there, though, because he's spotted this army there that's going to be trying to deal with that. We're also going to see some pressure on this middle gold base here. Bolt's base is once again getting taken down by Invincible here, and this is a really backward and forward game, really, but all teams, like, everyone's losing bases, and it's actually really even in many respects. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that one team was... Yeah, I can't really decide who I think's ahead at the moment. I mean, the red team have generally been quite dominating up on the left-hand side, but the right's been held really effectively by the blues, so it's not really a problem. And with Invincible now appealing to both teams for extra gas, Imperial especially seems to be sure that he's got loads of extra gas, and yes, indeed he does. It's quite funny, but with that in mind, the Spore Crawlers doing their... massive stupid amount of damage now to the Mutalisks here. We're actually going to see most of these Mutalisks just dying off there, and that's an interesting way to sacrifice your Mutalisks, to be honest, especially when there's the Broodlords at the back that can quite happily just sit and do whatever the hell they want. And actually looks like these Broodlords are going to fall now as well, with the two Archons coming underneath. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get away from that. They're not really quick enough. And we're going to see another engagement up here on the left now. Imperial's trying to move out for this extra base here, not going to be able to find it though, and he's actually going to have most of that taken down by Invincible's army. He's not going to be able to push out there, and it does look like the blue team's generally going to be pushing in now, as the huge red force of Mutalisks seems to have fallen now for the most part. We've not really got much left out of Bolt here. If we just have a little look at the units tab, we've got it's not too bad. I mean, like, it could be a lot worse, but I think generally the blue team's starting to fall under now, and we might be starting to finally see the later stages of this game here. I'll just zoom out again, try and get the scale of this in again, as we've got more and more troops coming up at the back here, and with the red force is actually crushing through most of the blue army there. That was a little bit different. It's not quite what I expected, but we've still got some pressure going on the high ground and stuff. There's just generally stuff happening everywhere at this point, and I'm absolutely running out of breath now. With that, we're seeing some big storms there out of our red Poseidon player here, doing the best that he can there just to take out most of that Terran army, and that was really nice. I like the way a lot of that died. It was pleasing on the eye. And we're going to see some Zealot pressure here, it seems, although actually with the two storm High Templar coming in at the back there. They're going to be taken up by just a few Lings, which is a bit of a shame, really. Even a single Storm on top of that might have been, well, maybe even just killing off the Lings, maybe, I don't know, something like that might have been good to do, but never mind, it happened. Good times for all. So we're going to see Poseidon just generally moving back up to the top here with his troops, just making sure he defends. Everyone's sort of fighting over this left-hand side base, but it does look like Meristematic's totally mined out this other far right-hand side gold base. So with both teams being on pretty even number of bases, I think Invencible and Meristematic, who's actually mining still? Let's have a little look around. There's nothing really in any of these bases. We've got this one gold base in the middle here for the blue team, and this one other base at the bottom here for them. Meanwhile, we've got a little bit left there, and then we've got a couple of heavily mined. We've got one heavily mined base on the left, and another gold base up on the left here that's virtually untouched. Meanwhile, our red team is pretty much out on all fronts here. We've not really had enough probes in this mineral line by the look of it out of Poseidon, judging by the fact that he's still got some minerals there. But with all the other bases being pretty much out of minerals now, it's actually looking pretty bleak. We've just got this one gold base on the far right hand side. So both teams running out of stuff now. We've got the dark pushing on this gold base. If you can take this out, this would be a really, really big move for this team. As considering they've only got one mining base other than this, this would really, really do a huge amount of damage to their economy. And frankly, with that falling there, there's not really much that the blue team can do about that now. I mean, really, they need to try and expand up here, take some of this gold, maybe get this this other gold finished mining as well. Would be really nice to see. But with this many red troops in their what was one of their only blue mining bases left, it's a big problem for the blue team now. I'm really going to be interested to see how they react to this. So with the 4 Mutalisks there on the side, they're going to be taking some hits, but to be honest, I think they can go through most of this. We just need a few more troops on the ground to engage, and with the armies gathering up in the middle and some huge storms there out of Meristematic on the Dark's units there, we're going to see so many Marines dying, and now we just need an engagement out of this Zerg player, really, and this will finish this off quite comfortably. A few big sweeps, big hug time. We're going to see the hugs delivered straight to the heart of the of the red team, and that's going to be the end of that little push in for them. So both teams still fighting over ground here in the middle of the map. Neither team really able to push out yet, although with LOneMagikarp doing some really nice pressure here on Imperial at the top, I'm kind of beginning to wonder what Imperial can actually do about this now. He's got no economy at all, he's got no income whatsoever, he doesn't have any units, I don't think. If we just have a little look here, he's got 5 SCVs, so he's basically up shit creek, if we're honest. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side of the map, we've got Decimate doing his thing, mining out as many things as he can. And we've got the Magikarp, meanwhile, just taking out Imperial's base. I don't think Imperial's got much left in this game, unless he can get something in the way of some support here. A few Marine Lings coming in for Bolt, but I think those are just going to be taken straight out by these troops. And with that in mind, we're going to have a little bit of an issue for the red team here now, as blue finally manages to break up on the left hand side and push through. So with that, we've got another push coming up the left here, of the right hand side here, out of the blue team once again. We've got Invincible and Magikarp doing their thing, with Meristematic just behind with his army of High Templars that he's getting together. And it looks like this gold base might be falling as well here. So with these important bases falling now, both teams are really going to start struggling for economy. Although with the blue team still having this left hand side base and him being really happy to sort of share the economy there, it's not really a problem. Although actually, God, he's got so many minerals. I bet he can't wait to get these refineries down and start churning out some decent troops. Now, meanwhile, we've got some Broodlords here cleaning up this on the far left hand side properly at last, and then on the far right hand side here we have some DTs helping clear out this blue army as well. So this might actually a cough and a hiccup all at the same time. Beautiful. I'm okay. I'm still getting there, just running out of breath because I've basically been talking pretty solidly for the last 40 minutes now nearly. So that's all very good. Excuse me. So I'm not sure is this going to be the end of Poseidon, do we think? Well, with all these DTs warping, and it's difficult to say really, because there's actually nothing that our blue team really is going to do about these DTs unless he starts getting the scans on, and since he's not really seeing any scans out of the blue team here at the moment, it does look like these DTs are just going to go through all this army, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, exactly, so many DTs, it's exactly how Invincible's feeling, it's exactly what I was thinking, and well, yeah, there we go. So maybe we might see blue team moving this base again before too long. This other one on the far right hand side is totally mined out now, and we still do have quite a lot of gas there, 4,000 gas sitting around in those two geysers, so I'd quite like to see a bit more out of that really, but if that's all we're going to get, then never mind, since this base is going to be falling. I'm just trying to work out what's the best way of doing this now, really. Both teams really struggling for anything. We've got the Broodlord army here of Bolt out again, and if we just have a look at the units tab, what have we actually got on the map? So we've got a few very small troops here for Poseidon. Where's the Zealots? Oh, it's this army here, isn't it, with his Dark Templars there as well. So he's got a little army here, says Poseidon. Imperial's pretty much out the game. We've got the Dark with his very tiny amount of troops here at the top. He's got a siege tank and 8 marines, basically no economy to speak of, but with 2,000 gas he really could do with sharing that around a little bit, especially when our Zerg players sat here on 2,800 minerals, and actually he's got a relatively huge army, to be honest. He could probably donate a bunch of these minerals to other players, really would be a good idea at this point, I feel, but never mind, it's all good. So really at this point, this is the thick of the force that the red team has, and they're not looking to build any more. I mean, no one really is building anything much at the moment anyway. So with this army really being the thick of what's left, we're really going to have to wait and see what happens here with that army and this little army here down at the bottom. Now, meanwhile, at the bottom, it looks like we've got this on the right, sorry. And now, meanwhile, at the bottom, we've got this other army of combined, basically an air. An air Terran army out of Decimate. We've got 7 Thors and 18 Hellbats out of LOneMagikarp there as well. So he's just continuing his general mech stuff. Meanwhile, we have, I guess, well, there's 1 Ultra and a bunch of Lings here out of our Zerg player here. If we just, oh, sorry, is that group there? So he's got very little as well. I mean, he could probably build a few more Lings or something, or maybe a couple of gas units since he's actually got gas, but it's a little bit difficult. Meanwhile, further down there, we have a single Archon and 11 Zealots out of our other player at the bottom. So this is sort of turning into a little bit of a kind of a stalemate at this point now, as neither team really has the sort of army to push through. Although with the sort of a Broodlord Ling composition being the thick of the red army, I can't really see how red can win this now, because we've got so many Vikings out here, and there's just not enough Stalkers and ground units to deal with them. So really, if to be honest, the Vikings could almost just fly over there of their own accord. Now, the Dark's trying to get in over here, although Decimate has now totally mined out this base. He puts down so many mules. So really, I think both players are going to be fighting over refineries. Let's be honest now at this point in the game. So we're going to start seeing the push out from the blue team here, and I think at this point we're just sort of waiting to see what the final big engagement's going to go like. But are they on patrol or something? I can't see how this red army can bust through this, really. I mean, they've got quite a few corruptors out now, I suppose. Maybe if they share around some more resources of some sort. But yeah, some big storms on this will take this out. Like, that's all you really need. Some huge storms, and then this ground army to deal with it. Sorry, this air and combined Hellbat army to deal with the groundlings and stuff. I don't see how the red team can come out on this, but maybe we might get a really good engagement. I mean, to be fair, everyone's moving out together here, so this is pretty good. So with the final big engagement coming in here, we're seeing some pretty huge storms across the back of these troops here. Perhaps not quite on as many of the Lings as I'd have liked, but with the Vikings pulling around the side to start attacking the Broodlords and staying well away from the Stalkers, it's quite interesting, actually. We're seeing quite a lot of storms going down now directly on top of the mech, but with the mech being pretty much strong enough to get through the storms there, it does look like we're going to be seeing these Broodlords falling, and I think this will finally be the good game we've been looking for. So GG is thrown out there by Bolt. He's gotten out the game, and as the guy that had most of the army left, he's basically, that's the end game for him now. So we're going to see the blue team just generally push out and start clearing this up. Poseidon's still not convinced he's entirely lost, despite basically having a gateway unit force still at this stage. Not really ideal, let's be honest, against 7 Thors, sorry, and a battlecruiser plus a bunch of Vikings for air support. So with the last of these troops of Poseidon falling now as well, all the players really having nothing much left to go with. I'm not really sure how we can take this much further now. We've still got battlecruisers and ultralisks coming out of our blue team as well, and yeah, I think this could well be at long last the end game, though, as the red team fails to leave. Poseidon's going to leave the game now as well. He's not going to throw out the GG. Doesn't have time. He's going to get on to the next game, because 4v4, serious business. And then on the right hand side, we've got nothing much happening there, just general base destruction happening now. I'm interested to see how this is going to work. I mean, we've got a red base out at the dark down at the bottom left here, who's refusing to leave. We've got Imperial up at the top left as well. I think there are 2 remaining players, because the Zerg and the Protoss have both left from the red team. So basically it's 2 Terrans now taking on what's left of these blue armies, and we're actually seeing all the probes being pulled in here with the drones as well to take out this extra base of the dark here, and I love this sort of play. It's really funny. There's the players struggle to try and clear up the map, get rid of everything that they can, and yeah, I don't think we're really going to see much of a turnaround at this point. I'm just going to increase the game speed slightly. maybe just speed things up a little bit. We're seeing just general destruction out of all the players here now, and I'm not really sure where to go. So while this game's finishing up, I'm just going to take the time to drink some more beer. Don't really have a lot more to say about this game now, to be honest. It's been pretty crazy, let's be honest. Imperial's also leaving now as well. He's done, and it's really now just up to the dark to get the hell out of this game in the next few minutes. So we're going to see the SCV pulled. We're going to try and see if we can get any sort of defence mounted here with this number of SCVs, and also a siege tank there as well. That's hilarious. We're also just seeing this army wander down. I'm just going to give a shout out because I've just realised I'm wearing my band t-shirt. This is my band Alta Vida. Tomorrow night we're playing with Goldie Looking Chain, who you might remember from about 10 years ago. We're not a rap band or anything. We basically play reggae soul music, but you know, with a hint of pop, because you know, cheesiness, why not? But yeah, so we're supporting Goldie Looking Chain tomorrow night at the local students' union. Not really sure what to say about that, really, other than just being well, a lot of fun, I guess. But then, who do you get to support Goldie Looking Chain, really? I mean, I don't know if you remember them yourself, but they were basically a Welsh specifically, comedy hip-hop band, I guess. They sing songs about each other's mothers and stuff, and like how your mother's got a penis and all this kind of thing. Goldie Looking Chain, check them out. So yeah, so my band's going to be supporting them tomorrow night. That's going to be really fun, I guess. I mean, it's the biggest gig we've done in a couple of months, so yeah, I'd imagine it should be pretty funny, as Goldie Looking Chain are pretty funny. And finally this game is over. So yeah, so that's my plan for the rest of the week anyway. And well, thanks basically everyone for watching. It's been an interesting game, not really the sort of thing I'd normally do with StarCraft, with CasualCraft, but it's been fun. I've sat and talked for 50 minutes, and now I'm basically starting to like crack up a bit. So I'm going to get the hell out of here. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual banter. I've been RedRipz, you're a Dreadlock caster, Renegade master, back once again. It's a Renegade, it's a Wild Child reference. There was a dance song in like 2001 that went like that. I don't know. You might not remember. Who cares anyway? So GG, well played to all of the above, and thanks very much for you for watching. So GG to everybody. Thank you once again, and good game. Bye bye.